What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw Food TV. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a big shout out to the man, the myth, the legend, the brother Robert Mason coming through with a donation yet again via the PayPal. Salute to you, brother, for showing love and always dispensing wisdom and being a beacon of truth. Salute to you. So let's talk about Zion Williamson. He's been in the news as of late, and not for anything that is good. It's the same spiel when it comes to Zion Williamson. Lord help us. So look, it was promised for Zion Williamson earlier this year. Before the season started, we saw images of Zion Williamson looking absolutely in beast mode, the slimmest that he had looked since at least when he played for Duke. And, things were looking great. And then, he started having some of the same issues, injuries. And at first, we were thinking, well, okay, this time you can't really say it's a weight issue. Maybe it's more of an issue with just his physical structure. But then we saw pictures of Zion Williamson, or images, I should say, of Zion Williamson getting a back tattoo. I said back tattoo. A back tattoo, right? And then you started noticing, not that he's of Chris Farley-esque proportions, but he clearly has gotten out of shape again, Now I'm talking about by athlete standards, not regular guy standards, but athlete standards. Look, on the one hand, you got a Shay or Shannon Sharp who's been very hard on Zion Williamson, saying that, he needs to invest in his body, need to hire a personal chef, show discipline. And then you have a DeMarcus Cousins who's saying, well, everybody's failed him. Everybody's failed Zion Williamson. Why would, you expect a young kid like this to be successful in New Orleans, where that's like the mecca of food or something, like as if, you just can't control yourself eating-wise if you go to New Orleans, right? And the Pelicans just failed him. I'm not always the biggest fan of Shannon Sharp, but in this situation, I agree with Shannon. It's enough coddling, enough of that crap, okay? At the end of the day, this is a professional. This guy gets paid millions of dollars to play basketball. At some point in time, when are we going to stop coddling athletes and expect? Look, at the end of the day, if you and I were working a regular job, right? A lot of these jobs will fire your ass if you miss more than 7 days out of a year. Now, including holidays and weekends, that's probably something around, what is that? 220 work days, I'm thinking. 250, somewhere in that range, right? So you can't miss more than 7 in some jobs out of 250 work days. Yet some of these players who are only working about 2 to 3 times a week can't play more than 40 games a year, which is right around Zion's career average. He plays something a little bit under 40 games a year. He's 23, 24 years old. At some point, man, you got to look at the fact that the guy's stealing money from the Pelicans organization. Then if you go deeper into it, recently, and this would really probably should piss off Pelican fans or just NBA fans in general. You see these images of Zion Williamson, you know what I'm saying, his home littered with soda bottles. Well, actually, those are reports. Now, I know it's coming from a dubious source, but you hear reports about soda bottles littered in the bathroom, on the floor. The guy, wolfed down pizza like it's nothing, falling asleep in meetings. There's the image of him falling asleep on the bench. You know what I'm saying? I believe all this stuff. And at the end of the day, that's on him. That's on Zion Williamson. I mean, he's at a point now where his career is in serious jeopardy. Serious jeopardy. And he's only 24 years old. This could be one of the saddest tales of all time. And unlike a Greg Oden, unlike a Brandon Roy, unlike, some of these other players who unfortunately had great promise, but it was a structural issue with their body. It was an issue where they just couldn't stay healthy because their bodies just couldn't withstand the rigors of the NBA. No, this guy may lose his career because he can't put a goddamn poor boy sandwich there. Who the fuck gonna feel sorry for you? This is comical. It's comical at that point. And to me, honestly, and I've heard the reports that the Pelicans contractually checks him, I think, 6 times a year to see if his weight is being maintained. And I think the number it can't be over 295. I think the number of his pounds and his body fat percentage can't be over 295. So that means that he can't weigh more than 285, and or his body fat percentage can't be more than 10%. Or he loses money. And I think it's set up so much so that that they can literally be waived and they don't have to pay him shit. No penalties, nothing. And that's not enough to motivate you? First of all, it's a horrible contract for a supposed superstar. And B, you don't have any long-term financial security. Where is his family? Where are his friends? I'm sorry, these are some pertinent questions. Where are his family in this situation? But sometimes family can be your worst enemy. I mean, they can even love you, but on one level, or on some level, I should say, they kind of hate on you. They kind of want you to fail because they are secretly envious of your success, especially if they believe that the success that you have been given, or the success you have earned, I should say, up to this point, may not have been totally earned. And maybe you aren't worthy of some of these things you have achieved. Or you could just be surrounded by some greedy-ass, sycophantic, two-faced bastards. Greedy, yet sycophantic, two-faced bastards. You could be. I don't know what's going to happen with him. Because it's not all his fault. The Pelicans have been decimated by injuries as well. I think they're a poorly run organization. So it's not all Zion Williamson's fault. But, his career is I think, on the brink of disaster. Absolutely. Because, I mean, who really wants to take this on? If he does get traded or if he gets waived, who wants to sign him? Who's fool enough to sign him? I'll put it like this. What marquee team is foolish enough to want to sign him? I know he's indicated sometime in the past that he won't play with the Knicks. To me, if they did sign him, you're making ultimately your front court, which is already defensively challenged, even worse. I don't know exactly what position he would play. Would it be power forward or small forward? But I mean, you just can't rely on him, man. You know, and I don't know, man. I don't get it, y'all. Because I think any of us, and trust you, me. I have issues. I've had issues with keeping my weight down in the past. Definitely, I've had that issue. But one of the things that I never did was allow food to get in the way of me earning a dollar. And if you can't be motivated by making 30, $40 million a year and maintaining that lifestyle, then there's something wrong. I mean, at the very least, at this stage of his life, maybe you can have a day of the week or a couple of days indulging in those types of meals. But you can't make that your steady diet. Not when you're an athlete. You might get away with that in middle and high school, but you can't get away with it when you're playing professional basketball, especially as you get older. And I just, look, I remember when he was drafted back in 2019. I said back then, I might have had to delete the videos because I had to delete a lot of content because YouTube said I was too damn raw back then. But if it's still up there, you'll hear me say back then, I don't see this guy playing 8, 9, 10 years. I just thought that the way that he played the game with his body size, more than likely, I agree with Shannon on this, you're going to get bigger and bigger. I just don't see him playing a long time. And, the thing about it is, you kind of want to compare him to Shawn Kemp, right? But at least with Shawn Kemp, you really didn't start seeing the weight gain with him, although he did naturally get bigger as he got older. I think it was 230 when he came to the league, 256 when he went to the NBA Finals. But you didn't really start seeing Shawn Kemp get out of shape. I noticed it the 97, 98 year. When I think that might have been his first full year with Cleveland. I noticed then he was putting on weight. Other people didn't see it, but I noticed. I said, Kemp looks bigger. I mean, he's still putting up good numbers, but he's bigger. And then I saw in the listings that he was now listed as 280. I said, yep, that's what I thought. But what really messed up Shawn Kemp was the lockout because he didn't have the structure of basketball to keep him at least in reasonable shape. And then his career was ruined. He came out of training camp, he came into training camp, when basketball resumed, 320 pounds. And his career was essentially over. Then the only reason why he was able to play a couple more years as a role player is because, he had developed a jumper. He kind of was able to go through the motions and get in reasonable shape. He expanded his game so much to the point where just off of name recognition, he was able to play a couple more years. But essentially, the Rain Man was over. Zion's not even there. He's not even going to have that type of career. At least Shawn Kemp led his team to a finals. At least Shawn Kemp had a 5 or 6 year span of being the Rain Man. This guy, the only thing that reigns with him is the salt and pepper on his potatoes. That's it. But anyway, that's all I got to say about it, man. Tell me what you guys think.